The British royal family has reached a striking turning point. The usually reserved and seldom discussed James, Earl of Wessex, has stepped into the public eye with an announcement that few could have predicted. After years of living quietly behind palace walls, James has accepted a new Her Royal Highness title, officially becoming a prince of the realm. This move not only elevates his personal standing within the royal hierarchy, but also redefines the balance and future direction of the monarchy itself. Yet, the question lingers, why now? And what deeper significance does this bold transformation hold? A young royal standing at the edge of destiny. For generations, the British royal family has fascinated the world with its jewels, palaces, and enduring customs. But beyond the glittering spectacle lies something far more compelling: the human struggle, the delicate pull between personal freedom and royal duty. Traditionally, the spotlight falls upon the monarch, the heir, or Princess Catherine, whose every movement sparks commentary and intrigue. But now, an unexpected presence is beginning to capture attention: James, Earl of Wessex. Unlike his more prominent relatives, James has lived much of his life in the quiet shadows of royal life, largely untouched by the glare of media attention. His emergence into public interest marks a surprising yet refreshing shift in the royal narrative. At 17, James appears, at first glance, to be an ordinary young man, focused on school, preparing for university, and cautiously stepping into adulthood. To the casual observer, his world seems calm and uneventful, untouched by the relentless scrutiny that has followed his cousins, Princes William and Harry, from the moment they were born. Beneath that quiet surface lies an extraordinary truth. James's choices are anything but ordinary, and the road ahead of him is unlike that of any young man his age. He stands before a decision that could redefine not only his personal destiny, but the course of the monarchy itself. The question may sound simple, yet it carries immense weight. Will he step forward as a working royal, devoting his life to service, duty, and the relentless gaze of global attention? Or will he take the quieter path, one of privacy, independence, and freedom, where he can live as close to normal as the grandson of the late Queen Elizabeth II possibly can? James, Earl of Wessex, now finds himself at a crossroads that reaches far beyond his own future. With King Charles III committed to a slimmed-down monarchy, the royal household now depends on a smaller circle of working members to sustain its public role. James's decision, to either embrace royal life or remain a private citizen, could influence the monarchy's stability and longevity. Should he accept the crown's call, he could ease the strain on senior royals and help reinforce the institution's relevance in modern times. But if he turns away, the weight on others grows heavier, testing the limits of Charles's vision. Astonishingly, the monarchy's balance may rest, in part, on the shoulders of this little-seen teenager. Will he rise to the crown's call, or quietly retreat into the life he's always known? Let's look closer at this defining moment in James's journey, as he stands between personal freedom and royal duty. James, on the brink of adulthood and independence. As the youngest child of Prince Edward and Duchess Sophie, James is quietly approaching a life-changing threshold. At just 17, with his 18th birthday approaching this December, he stands ready to step beyond the protective circle of family life. His sister, Lady Louise Windsor, has already done so, now studying at a Scottish university, and it appears her younger brother may soon follow her example. Currently completing his A-levels at Radley College, James could find himself next year embarking on university life, a milestone that will mark his first steps toward independence. For the royal family, pursuing higher education is more than an academic rite of passage, it's a tradition. Beyond the lectures and degrees, university offers something rare for young royals: a glimpse of ordinary life, a taste of freedom away from protocol. It's where they can build friendships, make mistakes, and discover who they are beyond the palace gates, experiences that often shape them just as profoundly as their education itself. Despite the growing public curiosity around James's next move, the details remain closely guarded. According to royal correspondent Danielle Stacey, that secrecy is intentional. Unlike senior royals, James and his sister have been raised largely out of the spotlight, thanks to the careful protection of their parents, the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh. Edward and Sophie have worked tirelessly to give their children as normal a childhood as possible, shielded from the relentless glare that defines royal life. For this reason, the public shouldn't expect early announcements or sweeping declarations about James's future plans. His path, at least for now, remains entirely his own to determine. Still, royal history offers some clues. Many young royals before him have taken a gap year after school, traveling, gaining experience, and savoring a final breath of anonymity before adulthood closes in. Should James do the same, it wouldn't be surprising if he spent time abroad, quietly avoiding the cameras before beginning his studies. And when he does choose a university, tradition suggests it might be somewhere outside London, where he could balance privacy with a more authentic student experience. Whatever he decides, one thing is certain: the coming year will mark a turning point in his life as he begins carving out his own identity, both within and beyond the royal family. But why does the monarchy need him so urgently now? What explains this sudden importance placed upon James's future? A crown under pressure. To understand the weight behind James's decision, we must look at the monarchy itself. When King Charles III ascended the throne in 2022, he made his vision clear: a smaller, more efficient, and more relatable monarchy, one less costly, yet more focused. It sounded ideal in theory, but as the pressures on the crown mount, the reality is proving far more complex.
For things like that, sovereign risks, which so many companies and investors find difficult to deal with.
The original vision was simple: streamline the monarchy, reduce its expenses, and concentrate responsibility in the hands of a few dedicated royals who could uphold the crown's values with grace and discipline. On paper, the plan seemed sound. In practice, however, it has revealed deep cracks within the institution. What was meant to be an efficient, modern royal machine has instead been stretched to breaking point. Senior members have withdrawn or been forced out. Scandals have corroded public confidence. Illness and age have sidelined some of the monarchy's most steadfast figures. Prince Andrew's disgrace left a permanent void. The dramatic exit of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle stripped away yet another crucial layer of support. Even the ever-reliable Princess Anne, renowned for her relentless dedication, cannot shoulder the growing avalanche of royal duties alone. Now, the strain is showing. Engagements are piling up, charities are calling out for royal patrons to keep their causes visible, and the British public still expects an active, ever-present monarchy. Yet, there simply aren't enough working royals left to meet those expectations. What once appeared as a sleek, modernized royal structure now seems fragile, perhaps even unsustainable. At this critical juncture, Prince William finds himself in the spotlight. As heir to the throne, he cannot ignore the pressures threatening the monarchy's stability. Unlike his father, King Charles III, William recognizes the urgent need for renewal, for fresh faces and new energy within the royal ranks. Without it, the risk of burnout, or worse, institutional collapse, looms dangerously near. Naturally, his attention turns toward the younger generation who have so far lived quietly beyond the glare of cameras: Lady Louise Windsor and her brother, James, Earl of Wessex. Their parents, Prince Edward and Duchess Sophie, have long been the monarchy's quiet pillars. Dependable, scandal-free, and endlessly loyal, they have worked diligently behind the scenes, stepping in during times of turmoil. They embody the quiet stability that the crown so desperately needs. If their children were to follow their example, they could breathe new life into an image of the monarchy that's growing weary. But time and options are running thin. Lady Louise has already chosen her own independent path, stepping away from royal duty to pursue life on her own terms. That decision leaves James, still a teenager, standing at a crossroads that could define not only his personal future, but the fate of the monarchy itself. The crown's reliance on him has never been more evident. His decision, whatever it may be, could shape the direction of the British monarchy for years to come.
Yes. And I think having those times together in the summer allows those relationships. I mean, we're a lot more fortunate.
When Prince Edward and Sophie were elevated to the titles of Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh in 2023, their son's designation changed once again. James then became James, Earl of Wessex, a title that underscores his position as heir apparent to his father's earldom. Yet, an important distinction separates him from the line of traditional royal inheritance. James will never assume the historic title of Duke of Edinburgh. That dukedom, long regarded as one of the most prestigious in the royal hierarchy and deeply connected to the legacy of Prince Philip, is set to revert to the crown upon Edward's passing. This arrangement, established under the guidance of the late Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, ensured that the title would not be passed down to future generations. As a result, James's destiny points toward a more understated and private path than that of many of his royal cousins. This unusual decision has long intrigued royal observers. According to the BBC, the move was a conscious effort to shield the young Wessex children from the burdens that often accompany royal titles: the constant scrutiny, the unrelenting public expectations, and the lifelong obligations that come with being addressed as prince or princess. Sophie, now the Duchess of Edinburgh, offered a rare and candid insight into their approach to parenting during a 2020 interview. Speaking with her trademark warmth and realism, she explained, "We try to bring them up with the understanding that they are very likely to have to work for a living. Hence, we made the decision not to use Her Royal Highness titles. They have them and can decide to use them from 18, but it's highly unlikely." Her words revealed the quiet transformation of royal parenting in the modern age, one that values independence over entitlement. In the Edinburgh household, James and his sister have not been raised to expect palatial privilege, but rather to prepare for the possibility of building careers, identities, and futures of their own. From an early age, by setting aside the formal address of His or Her Royal Highness, they were gently guided toward a life where royal bloodline meets real-world responsibility. James and his sister, Lady Louise Windsor, have been fortunate to experience a far more balanced upbringing than many of their royal counterparts. They've attended regular schools, formed friendships outside the confines of aristocracy, and caught glimpses of life beyond the ornate walls of monarchy. In many respects, this was a conscious decision by their parents, a reflection of the royal family's gradual adaptation to modern times. It represents a quiet evolution, an acknowledgement that the institution must move in step with public expectations and the realities of 21st century life. For James, Earl of Wessex, this approach has shaped the foundation of a life poised between privilege and normalcy, a rare balance in the royal sphere. But as he nears adulthood, that balance faces a crucial test. What choice will James make? And how could his decision ripple through the centuries-old institution he was born into? Despite his youth, all signs point toward a defining moment. Though he stands only 16th in line to the British throne, the weight resting on his shoulders far exceeds his numerical place in succession. What seems, on the surface, like a personal decision for a young man on the edge of independence is, in truth, a reflection of a much larger question, one that strikes at the heart of monarchy itself. What role should the crown play in a modern world? In an era that prizes democracy, individuality, and personal freedom, the notion of lifelong duty to the crown feels increasingly out of sync with modern values. For centuries, the royal family has sustained itself through tradition, young royals stepping forward to serve, symbolizing continuity and devotion to the nation. Yet today, a new perspective is emerging. Many believe that royal birth should not automatically demand the surrender of personal dreams, ambitions, or autonomy. Instead, each prince or princess should have the right to choose, to either dedicate their lives to service or quietly pursue a private path beyond the palace gates. Now, James finds himself standing squarely at the crossroads of this generational debate. His choice is complicated by a deeper division within the monarchy itself. King Charles III remains firmly anchored in tradition, advocating for a streamlined yet visibly active royal family. Prince William, by contrast, envisions a leaner model, fewer working royals, but each carrying immense responsibility and influence. Caught between these two visions, James must navigate a deeply personal dilemma. Should he follow the time-worn road of royal duty, or venture down the uncertain path of independence? Whichever he chooses, his decision will not simply define his own future. It may quietly shape the next chapter of the British monarchy. King Charles III remains steadfast in his traditional outlook, favoring a monarchy that is streamlined yet consistently visible in public life. His vision upholds the long-standing ideals of service, ceremony, and continuity, a royal family trimmed in size but not in presence. Prince William, however, appears to view the future through a slightly different lens. His approach leans toward a more modern structure, one with even fewer working royals, yet demanding far greater dedication and accountability from those who remain on the royal front line. For James, Earl of Wessex, this difference in vision creates a defining moment. He stands at a delicate intersection between two royal philosophies, one rooted in duty and tradition, and the other in modern restraint and individual freedom. Should he follow the well-trodden road of service, embracing a life of public responsibility, or will he choose the quieter, less predictable path, one shaped by independence, privacy, and personal choice? Curiously, his elder sister, Lady Louise Windsor, has already chosen the opposite path. She has quietly stepped away from the royal spotlight, embracing a private life free from the cameras, ceremony, and endless public scrutiny. While her decision was met with admiration, it has also placed an even heavier burden on her younger brother's shoulders. The monarchy, still navigating a period of transition and public skepticism, now waits in quiet anticipation for James's decision. Across Europe, royal families in Denmark, Sweden, and Spain have begun to redefine what monarchy means in the modern world. Younger royals in those nations have been allowed to fade gracefully into ordinary lives, pursuing careers, relationships, and ambitions without the binding weight of royal duty. But Britain's monarchy is different. Its reach is global, its symbolism unmatched, and its legacy woven deeply into history. Here, even a decision by someone as far down the line of succession as James, Earl of Wessex, carries international significance. As his 18th birthday draws near, speculation intensifies. Will James step forward, embracing the call of duty to serve alongside his parents and cousins as a new face of the crown? Or will he, like his sister, quietly step away, choosing independence, privacy, and self-determination over the demands of royal life? Whatever path he chooses will not only define his own destiny, but could also shape the future tone of the British monarchy for decades to come. Will it remain an institution rooted in centuries of tradition, or evolve toward a freer, more modern spirit that reflects the values of today's world? The question now lingers: what truly persuaded James to accept the call, despite his youth and the enormous weight of responsibility? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from inside the crown.